Good morning, everybody. My name is David. This is the Payline. It is December 3rd, 2021, and we're going to be talking about the NBA slate today. I'm just going to be really quick about this in and out video. Uh, just kind of my general ideas on the games today, whether or not I have money on them, what I think is a good game to bet on, stay away from. So I'm going to really try to run through this quickly, but before we do that, I want to say two things. Number one, I'm not a professional gambler. This is not my full-time gig. So this is just somebody who thinks, I think I understand the NBA to a decent extent at this point. Just want to sort of share my picks, more so as a soundboard than anything. So if you are a gambler and if you are planning on betting these games, which is probably why you're here, uh, you can say, okay, well, I like what he said there. That's a good idea, or that was really stupid. So I'm gonna do the other thing. I'm gonna fade this guy because that's a really dumb reasoning. So no matter what happens, whether you think I'm an idiot or not, you can probably glean something from this. So let's just get right into it here. We have Heat at the Pacers in Indiana. Uh, everybody's out for the Heat. That's important. And by that, I mean Jimmy Butler's out and Bam Adebayo's out. That line is at +5.5 for the Heat, +180 for them to win, and -220 for the Pacers. And for the rest of these, I'm just going to have the spreads show up here when I start talking about the game. That way we can just go a little bit quicker. Try to shave 5-10 seconds off each one of these things. So I don't like that the Heat are getting 5.5 here. I don't think that's enough points. I don't think the Pacers necessarily guaranteed cover that, but they should win. They should get the cover here. But at the end of the day, the Heat's a really good team, and the Pacers are an okay team. They do have home field advantage there. I'm staying away from this. I have no money on this game. Maybe look at the over in this game. It's at 208 right now, so something to think about. Cavs Wizards. I'm on the Cavs +4.5. There's been a lot of line movement. I got that a night and a half ago, and now the Cavs are +3.5. And it's just still moving. The line's still moving. The money line's getting worse and worse for them as far as payout. So it was at 180 last night. Now it is down to 140. So the line is moving towards this, the Cleveland Cavaliers being more favored, or a little bit less favored, or less dogged, I guess, at this point. So I like the Cavs. I like the Cavs +4. I think they get the win here, but I'm just going to take the points and keep that shit rolling. 76ers Hawks. I'm taking the Hawks here -1.5. They're in Atlanta. They seem to have Philly's number. Last season's kind of playoff series really. When a team like this, when not much compositionally changes, obviously no Ben Simmons, but that's been all year now. I think the Hawks get it done. They're a powerful offense. I don't think they have Bogdanovich. I think he's out. But other than that, the Hawks, full team, great team, good offense. They're starting to really play some defense now. So that's going to be a good one. It's going to be a great game to watch. Timberwolves Nets. Fuck me. I really don't like betting against the Timberwolves. Not because I think they're a great team. They're up against the Nets, and I think they're going to lose today. But the Timberwolves have a propensity to cover games or to have a shot in games where people let their foot off the gas pedal just a little bit. And the Nets strike me as a team that, they might do that. We'll get to it later, but the chief kind of offender of that is the Lakers, of taking your foot off the throat. But, the Nets should get it done here today. They are -320 to win. I would not take that bet straight up. Probably work that into a parlay with some other teams you think are going to be really, really, really favored to win, but I would not put that in as a standalone bet. -320 is a little bit too much risk for that in that situation. Over/under is 222. I could very easily see this game going over, but since Cat's out, or I believe he's still out with a tailbone contusion or some stuff, I'm going to go with under, actually. Parlay the under in the Nets money line, or just do those as individual bets. Look at the under, think about it. 222 is a ton of points. Games have been going under all season for all these teams because at the end of the day, the Nets can still put up 115 on you doing it legitly. But if they get to the line too much, which they really have sort of cut back on now in this season in the NBA, I don't think it's going to get that high. I don't think it's going to get to 222. That's a ton of points. Magic at the Rockets. Rockets are favored despite having 3 of their 5 starters out. I think it's Magic all day here. They got Cole Anthony. They got Mo Bamba. They got guys that are really starting to come into their own. I like the Magic here. I think Houston stinks. I think the Magic stink too. But I think that when you lose 3 of your 5 starters on a team with no identity and no true cohesion, you're really losing out a lot. Because it's not really about, because I think honestly the rest of the Rockets roster is somewhat comparable. Maybe not to like, I think Woods is out. So Woods is out, Green is out, and Porter Jr. is out. The rest of the bench is maybe somewhat comparable to them. Obviously, they're not nearly as good as those 3, or they would be the starters. But at the end of the day, you can't lose 3 starters like this. And, especially if you're a bad team. I feel like the Heat maybe have a chance to be in their game only because the Heat are the Heat. The Rockets are the Rockets. So I think they're going to rocket this one up at home. Get a nice big L for the boys. Next, we have Pelicans Mavericks. Huge Mavs fan. Go Mavs. Mavs dominated the Pelicans last time out. Had a huge victory. But I will say this, Kristaps Porzingis possibly not in the game. His size and his scoring are a huge asset for us, as much as I hate to admit it. I think the Mavs get it done here at home. I think they beat the Pelicans again. I think the Mavs kind of got their shit slapped a few times early in the season and kind of had a wake-up call, so hopefully they win tonight. I am on the Dallas Mavs minus 7.5. The money line is minus 320. And typically, if I have an NBA game that's minus 7.5 or more, I really do try to stay away from it, or kind of around the 10 range. That's just too many points to start talking about, unless it's a horrendous mismatch or you think the book is wrong. I think the book is wrong here. I took an alternative spread down to 7 because I don't like hooks, especially if I'm on a favorite team. So they're favored by 7 points, and that's where I got them at, and I'm taking them. So go Mavs. Total homer bet. Also do believe, structurally that team is going to win that game for other reasons, but it is a homer bet. This is a Mavs hat. There's a Mavs flag over there. So I'm a Mavs fan betting on the Mavs. Think about that for that advice on that game. Celtics Jazz. Brown is out. Jazz are a much better team. They are minus 8. Money line is minus 420. Jeez. That's a lot. I mean, to be favored by 8, but to have your money line be minus 420 is kind of ridiculous. I think the Celtics maybe keep it close here just to keep up appearances, but at the end of the day, the Jazz are just strictly a better team. They have no injuries. They're playing at home. Fuck it, Jazz may win by 50. So possibly look on sprinkling Jazz minus 8 into that Brooklyn parlay. Let's see this. I'll give you a parlay at the end of this little thing here, my guaranteed winner parlay. But I would go Jazz there, either minus 8 or the money line worked in somewhere. I don't think the Celtics get it done. I don't think they're the same team as they were a few years ago. I think their window is officially closed. Not that they're in a rebuilding phase, but I don't think they steal the win off of the Jazz, who have looked incredibly sharp this whole season. Clippers versus the Lakers. The Lakers have 3 of their 5 starters potentially being out. Anthony Davis, LeBron, and some other guy. I like the Clippers a little bit more than I like the Lakers here. I think that despite their kind of somewhat recent skid from the Clippers, I think that they're still the better team as far as depth goes, and that'll really show kind of, I guess tonight, but at the end of the day, I think the Clippers are the better team. They are they're not. They are plus 1.5. So, wow, they were plus 3 last night. So that line has moved to 1.5. It's moving back towards the Clippers. This game is a pick 'em now. Getting a 1.5 is pretty much nothing. So yeah, I have the Clippers plus 1.5 points. The over-under is 217. I'm staying away from that. I think that it should go under, if only because I think whenever two teams play each other hard, which I'm assuming every single time the LA teams meet up in LA to duke it out in LA, they're playing with high intensity. Maybe they get a high-scoring game, but I think the defense comes first, especially for those Clippers. So should be a low scorer. That's a really high line for that team, 217. I'm taking the under there. And then last but not least, we have Golden State Warriors versus the Phoenix Suns. Suns sans Devin Booker. So last game between these two, Steph Curry had one of the worst shooting performances he's had in his entire career, arguably the worst. So he stunk. I think that if he shoots even an average night, they win that game because they would have a lot more momentum in certain places. Chris Paul took over the fourth quarter, got the Suns a big win there. I'm going to go with the Warriors minus 7. I think that Steph Curry can't possibly shoot that poorly twice in a row. And if he does, then so be it. I will gladly lay 8 points without Booker, with Steph not shooting like that. Pretty good. Over-under is 216. That's a little bit low, I feel. Possibly look at the over here. These two teams, they do play well. But if Steph Curry's getting hot, everybody else in that game shoots better if somebody's shooting crazy lights out. So look for the over. So yeah, there you have it, folks. Hopefully y'all win some money today. And if not, then come back here tomorrow and we'll get some more winners. And if I stink and if these are all wrong, then just bet the opposite of what I say and you'll make money anyway. So hopefully everybody has a good day gambling. See you guys tomorrow.